When life throws you unexpected things, a topic came up for me that I wanted to talk to you about today. So let's go. Welcome to Dare to Be Conscious podcast, the podcast that gets you to change anything with ease. I'm Ruby Pichel, and I'm your host. So life can throw you some unexpected things, and I decided to quickly do this podcast. I didn't have much time. I was trying to see where I could do this podcast and make sure that I could record one, but I couldn't find the time. All these topics were coming up. When I have that going on and I have all these topics coming up, I would definitely write them down so I wouldn't forget, because sometimes I get multiple topics at one time. And then this topic came up, and I thought, well, I can't just write it down. I need to talk about it today. Like, it's coming up now, for now, to talk about. Well, if I don't have much time, then I'm just going to sit down and do it quickly. So here we go. When life throws you unexpected things, and what came up for me is the story that I want to share with you about what happened in my family and with my sister. Because basically it's the story about me guiding my sister and treating my sister during her cancer treatment. How that showed up is there was this point a couple of months ago where I could see that there was a change coming up. And I could see the change literally to the date. It was somewhere around October, November 2023. And I could see that February 2024, there would be a change. There would be an actual pivot. And I couldn't see what kind of pivot. I couldn't see what was going on. All I could see was the message, things are going to change. Whenever things change, change never shows up the way you think it does, right? So I relaxed into it and I just allowed the space for it. So that date was there. And it passed because the message was like things would change after February 24. The day after February 24, we got the news that one of my brothers, who is in a home because he has Alzheimer's disease, things were going downhill for him. He was doing fine. By that time, he just turned 58. He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 2 years before, so he was already in that state for about 2 years. And suddenly he was going downhill. Within 24 hours, he left this planet. He passed away. So great distress for my family, of course, and for me. And maybe there's another time for this story where I could say more about his passing and the things that happened around it. But the connection that I want to make right now is that he passed on Monday evening. And the next day, I was taking my sister to a hospital because she was getting some test results. And she and I were in the hospital getting her test results. She learned that she had lung cancer. It was a very severe form of lung cancer, a very aggressive form. And she needed treatment right away. So imagine that. We had just lost our brother. And the day after we lost our brother, she heard she had lung cancer. And immediately I was like, okay, Lord, so is this the change? Is this the pivot? What's right about this? I'm not getting. Just tell me what you want me to do. And it was like my brother knew. I was there the day he passed away. I was with him that morning. And he was very confused and we couldn't really hear what he was saying. But the moment he started talking about my sister, he was very clear. I could sense that he was worried about her. So I was speaking to the doctor because she medically and physically, she couldn't see what was going on. And so she was asking me, like, do you have any idea what what's going on with him? And I said, well, could it be stress or worry? And she's like, yeah, of course it could be. I said, I just think he's worried about my sister, our older sister. And it was like his eyes opened up and he was immediately very much awake. And he was like, yeah, she was here recently. And I hope things are going well with her. I hope she's all right. I hope she's all right. Things have to go well with her. All of a sudden, he was very clear. And the doctor, she even replied by saying, oh, he's speaking a lot about his sister. He's worrying about her and he wants her to be well. What I did not know at that moment was that my sister had cancer. I did know, of course, that I was about to go to the hospital with her the next day. And we talked about that. My sister and I talked about that because she took care of him. She was with him 3-4 times a week, do his laundry, bring him food. She was taking care of him like he was her child. And he couldn't have that. He needed her to take care of herself. And this is where I get into the story of my sister. Because then going back a week before all of this, like the week before my brother passed away, I was with a client and I had a session. We had 3 archangels showing up. At that time for her, it was not about who the angels were. It was about her perceiving the angels and perceiving and receiving the energy. But there was one angel that was there for me. So I communicated with this angel, and this was Archangel Raphael. And he said, I want to work with you. And I had never worked with Raphael before. I've worked with Archangel Michael, I've worked with Archangel Gabriel. I've been in contact with them many times, and they've assisted during my sessions. And it was always amazing. And they assisted me on my path. They assist me all the time. But I've never really connected and worked with Raphael. So I was like, okay, if you want to work with me, I'd love to. Because I hadn't really worked with him, I didn't know him that well. And that's how nowadays, what we do today, we Google. Because I knew about him, but I just wanted to know a little bit more about him. So I just Googled his name and the meaning of his name because I didn't really know that. And that's when I found that his name, Raphael, means God heals. He's the healing angel. So no click yet, right? It was just information. Raphael wanted to work with me, and his name means God heals. And so the day my brother passed, there was also a beautiful encounter with Jesus, which was amazing, but we won't go into that today. And then my sister got her test results. And 2 days later, we were back in the hospital because they needed to start the treatment. And she had to go through all these tests to know exactly what kind of treatment she was going to get. And so that morning, I was still at home just a few minutes before I had to leave to pick her up. And Archangel Raphael showed up again. And he asked me, do you remember what I said last week? And I said, sure, yeah, you said you wanted to work with me. And cool. And he said, I want to work with you for this, for your sister who's going through cancer treatment. I want to work with you with that. I was amazed. Wow. Wow. I didn't even see that. He had to remind me what was going on. And I couldn't really blame myself. There was so much going on with passing of my brother and then the news with my sister. And I hadn't forgotten about him, but I just hadn't really connected the dots. And, this is the kindness of the angels. If we forget, they'll remind us. That's what they're here for. We only need to be willing to listen. And so I sent my sister a text, just real short, because I hadn't shared this with her yet. So I sent her the text saying Raphael came to see me and that he wanted to reach out to her too, and that he wanted to help me help her. And so I picked her up. We went to the hospital, and in the waiting room, I said, did you receive my text? She said, I did receive your text. I haven't really read your text. I said, go read it. And she read the text. And I had to explain it to her again. I had to explain to her what happened and how he came to me and how he insisted on working with me. And she looked at me and she started crying. And she said, "For me? Is he coming to help me? Is he coming to help me through you? Is that what's happening?" It was like there was this weight that fell off her shoulders. And we just cried together and we hugged. In just a few minutes, I explained to her how he could help her. I explained to her we would only need to invite him in. I made sure I taught her short tips of meditation. And as she was going through the different tests before her cancer treatment, so this is where people go into a PET-CT scan, where they have to go through an MRI, where they have to go through like short procedures, functions, stuff like that, to be able to determine how the treatment is going to go. Those tests can be pretty intimidating and scary, especially if you go through a scan. People that are claustrophobic are really scared. When they move, they have to do it again. So all these tests aren't really comfortable. And then, of course, there's the whole element of the fear of the shock of what's happening with my life. Am I going to die? Am I going to live? Like all these emotions that go through people's minds. And all I said to her, I said, every time you go through a test, just invite Raphael in, invite him in and ask him to be with you and listen to him. See if you can hear him, see if you can feel him. And that's what she did. She actually just started praying and invited him in. She also invited Jesus in, and she had to go through this PET-CT scan, which takes about an hour and a half, right? You get needles that they stick in your body. You get the fluid that goes through your body. Then you have to wait. Then you have to go through the scan. And I said, remember what I told you about Raphael. And so she did. And the first time when that happened, the first test she had to do, she came out. I mean, she was almost jumping through the hallway. And I asked her, how were things in the scan? Were you scared? Were you nervous? And she's like, no, it was fine. I did what you told me to do. I invited Raphael and I just started talking to him and I started praying and I felt really calm and I felt at ease. And yeah, no, it was good. So, do you want to go for lunch? And so we went for lunch. And this is how we went through the treatments. And so she had in total 4 chemos. She had 30 radiation therapy sessions, and she did all of those twice a day. So she had 3 weeks of radiation. And apart from her hair loss and feeling a bit fatigued, she had no side effects. And during all of the treatments, I did energy sessions with her. We prayed together. We invited Raphael. I explained to her the effects of light and the effects of energy and the effects of releasing things from your body and the effects of asking the molecules to go back to their original shape. And we just did a couple of sessions together. And she went through all these procedures with total ease. Like she had hardly any side effects. And she doesn't know what it's like, right? This is the first time that she had cancer. And many of you probably don't know this, but I used to work in medical device area. I worked a lot with oncologists because we sold the OR equipment. And I also worked for GE Healthcare. That's the company that delivers and produces the MRI scans, CT scans, PET-CT scans. So I know a little bit about this disease. I've worked with the oncologist. I've worked with the surgeons that have removed the tumors. And that was also the reason for when we learned that my sister had cancer. I believe there is a lot we can do with energy. And I absolutely, it's not a belief, like I know we can do a lot with energy, absolutely. But I also know that if we've taken it too far and the cancer has gotten too big in the body, you got to cut that thing out. And I've seen a lot what specialists can do. I see what people can do, and I have so much respect for that. So I told her, you are going to do everything the doctor tells you to do. And in the meantime, we're going to work together. I'm going to treat your body, your immune system. I'm going to make sure that you give it the energy to restore from the cancer treatment. Because we all know we don't get sick from the cancer, we get sick from the treatment. It's a kind of treatment that doesn't just kill the cancer cells, but it also kills the healthy cells in the body. So what we're going to do is we're going to give your body so much support and strength and energy that it can handle the treatment with ease. It can handle the chemo sessions. It can handle the radiotherapy sessions, and it can restore with ease. Give your body the support to handle whatever needs to be done to remove the cancer in your body. And like I said, this is her first time of having cancer, so she doesn't know how this usually goes. And she actually was not really surprised. She was doing well. She's like, I'm good. I don't have pain. I still have an appetite. She didn't lose weight. The only thing she had some hair loss, and yeah, she was tired, but it makes sense, right? Because the body is working hard to heal and recover. So you need to rest, you need to sleep, and your body will be tired. But I said, well, it's not really normal that you are this healthy, because usually people get very sick from cancer treatment. They get really unhealthy because there are a lot of side effects with cancer treatment, with chemotherapy, because it's just a severe method. We accept the side effects because it also kills the cancer. But it's not normal for someone to just feel good and to eat well and to not be in pain and to not get sick. So I said, you are the exception. And you're doing great. And you also have to acknowledge that you're doing great because you are handling this. You're killing this, right? The cancer is not killing you, but you are actually killing the cancer, and you are keeping your body alive, and you're keeping your body healthy as you can through this whole procedure so you can heal better. And in this whole process, she made so many shifts, because what we saw, it was not only the cancer treatment, but we could also see, in times when you're going through rough times, and I think we all know that when we're going through rough times, you know who your supporters are. You know who your friends are. These are the moments when you see that the people that you would expect that would support you are not supporting you. They're actually disappointing you. They're letting you down. They're not showing up. They're not calling you to ask how you're doing. And she had this with, well, a few people, but then with those few people, there's only one that triggers the most. She told me, she said, you know what, all these treatments, the chemo, the radiation, she's like, I can handle it. I can take it. What's hard for me is that this specific person is not reaching out to me, and it hurts. It really hurts. And I get that, right? Because it's not about the cancer. It's about the pain that we hold inside. And when we are holding something inside, the universe works like a mirror, and the universe will just give us the experiences for that emotion to come up that we are holding inside of us. It reminded me of a story in 2 Kings chapter 5 about the prophet Elisha, where the army commander Naaman, he had leprosy, and he visited the prophet because he heard that he was a man of God. That was the God that could heal everything. So in this story, he went to another kingdom, he went to another area, and he wanted to visit the prophet. And the prophet did not even come to see him. He gave him the message saying, go and wash yourself in the Jordan River 7 times and you'll be healed. So eventually Naaman did this, and he went into the river 7 times and he got healed. That's basically, many people know that story. What's interesting about the story is when Elisha the prophet told him, go and wash yourself in the Jordan River, his first response was that he got upset. He got angry. He was like, you're not even going to come and meet me? I thought you were going to come and meet me and wave your hand and make the leprosy disappear. But all I get is an assignment to wash myself in the Jordan River. And why should I wash myself in this river? Don't we have our own rivers that are holy and that are good and that are clean? And I can just wash myself there. He was reminded by the people that were joining him on his journey, like, why are you getting upset? Why are you getting angry? There was something that you expected. All you're getting is a assignment, a really easy assignment, by the way, to do something, and you're not even willing to do it. And so that's when he decided he was going to do it, and he washed himself 7 times and he healed. But the thing in this story is that he got angry. That means that the emotion of anger was inside of him because he got angry over nothing, right? There was no reason to get angry because he got an assignment to get healed. That's what he came for. And because it wasn't what he expected, or if there even was a because there is no because, he got an experience for his anger to come up, and it came up. For us to release the layers that we've been building up, and in his case, it was anger that we was holding inside of him, he had to wash himself 7 times because we need to clear layer by layer by layer. And the leprosy that he had, it was shown on the outside, but it was only shown on the outside. The body was showing it because he was holding on to anger on the inside. And he had to get rid of his anger. And if he was able to release the anger, he could get rid of any manifestation that was going on in the body. And I love this about these stories because many times we only hear part of the stories, or we just get oh, it's a miracle and he washed himself 7 times and it was gone. That was not the miracle. It became the miracle because that's what we see from the outside. But the actual miracle lies in the part where he realized he became angry. It says it literally, but Naaman became angry and he expected him to wave his hand, but he just had to go down to the river. And the dipping 7 times is because we need to release those layers. We have to get rid of the anger. And because he decided to to get over himself, basically, right? Why are you getting angry? Just do what the man says. You ask for a solution, right? Go and do it. And so he had to get over himself. He had to let go of his anger and just do what the prophet told him to do. And that's what I also told my sister. I said, you're holding something inside of you that you need to let go of. Yes, you have to go through treatment. Yes, you have to go through the 4 times chemo, the 30 times radiation. Go and do that because you have to wash yourself in the Jordan River. And it's not about the treatments. And yes, the treatments will do something. But this is where I also believe, like recurring cancer, it's because people, you can get rid of the cancer. But if you don't get to the core of the issue, if you don't get rid of the pain or the anger, it will come back. The process of releasing the emotion that you've been storing in the body is the miracle. That's what it's about. What's been showing up for my sister is the pain that she is now seeing with somebody who she expected to be there for her, who's not there. Somebody she's known for a big part of her life. And the pain that you've been putting effort and energy and love in somebody, to somebody, towards somebody, in somebody's life, the time when you need it the most, somebody is not there for you. That's a choice that we make. That's where we put a lot of energy into someone that's not receiving our love. And if somebody is not able to receive your love, they won't be able to give it back to you. And that is not that person's fault. That's also something that would need to learn, because the first reaction is that you would blame a person for not being there for you. It's not that person's fault. It's that you've been putting energy into something that is not deserving of that energy, that somebody is not able to receive or not willing to receive. That's our choice in where we put our energy. And this is only showing up. So God is showing you there's pain inside of you. And I'm just giving you the experience of pain so you can release that pain, because I don't want you to hold the pain inside of you. I don't want you to hold the anger inside of you. I want you to release it. You could also just give it to him, but many times we think that is too difficult, but basically that's really easy. We can just give it to him. That's also what we did when we invited Raphael and Jesus in. I said, just give him the pain and the anger. Just give it to them. Give the cancer to him. He wants it. He'll take it. He'll take it away from you. It won't hurt him because he won't hold on to it. Well, my sister is a spiritual woman. She believes in God more the traditional way. But whenever I take stories out of the Bible and I give it to her, she gets it. Right? She gets this because she knows the story, but she only knows the story about the 7 times healing part, but not about Naaman holding the anger inside of him. And that is what it was all about. And what I'm really grateful for is that my sister could receive all of this. And I know this is a huge story. And I know there are many people that might not get this or think that this is completely out there. But I know the ones that are hearing this, that are listening to this, it will touch you just the way that it touched my sister. She needed this. She needed this. My sister is 22 years older than I am. So we have a different kind of relationship because of the age difference. But now that we are adults, we have a way of having a sisterhood, but also a friendship together. And me coming to her with this kind of energy and this kind of support, she already knew that this existed. It was just that nobody really offered it to her because she chose something else in life. And now that she opened up for it, she was more than willing to receive it. The mere fact that she was willing to receive this means that she's willing to receive so much more. She opened up, open up the floodgates. Here we go. This is only the beginning. This also comes with ups and downs. And I also know that this is only the beginning, but she had the willingness and she took action, because the action that she took is just, she listened to me and she did what I told her to do. She invited Raphael in, she opened up, and every time when I told her to do something with her body, she didn't question me. She didn't think it was weird. She did it and she received the energy. And every time we did a session, she's like, I don't know what you did, but there was this pressure here on my chest and it's gone. Like, I don't know what you did, but there was an energy that I suddenly feel flowing here in my body that I never felt before. Like, I don't know what you did, but we just did the session and I just feel completely light. There's like a weight lifted off, not just my shoulder, but my whole body. And I just feel light. And that was exactly the goal. So I'm going to wrap this up because I need to go. This is taking longer than I expected. But anyway, this is the story. So yeah, takeaway. Things aren't always as they seem. When life throws you unexpected things, don't walk away. Don't look the other way. Look them right in the eye, because God is bringing you something. God is actually bringing you something, and he's probably bringing you so much more than you see firsthand. There are so many layers. Oh, another thing that I wanted to share, that, how in scripture, Jesus says, ask me for anything and I will do it. Just ask me. It is so different if you're not asking for you. It is so different if you're praying for somebody else, right? That's another thing that showed up here. It was like, I'm not asking for me, Jesus, I'm asking for my sister. And that's where I got the support, in praying for her and asking for her. And I will give you an update in a few weeks, because we've already heard that the cancer treatment is working. The tumor was shrinking, but she still has one more chemo treatment to go. And then hopefully we'll get the clean bill of health from the doctor. But Raphael has already shared with me before the treatment started. He's like, and he saw me. I actually saw this image of her in a pool of water. I literally saw her, and I saw her in the middle with the ripple effect around her. And he told me she's already healed. Just like that story in Kings where Naaman had to go and wash himself in the river. If he would do exactly as the prophet told him to do, he's already healed. We only need to go through the steps, but in another moment in time, you're already healed because of your choice, because of your decision. The body just has to go through the process of releasing and the reversal of the molecules, and that just takes linear time. That does not happen overnight, but the choice does happen overnight. The choice is the choice, and the choice is what allows it to change. So thank you. Thank you for today, and thank you for listening to this episode. I am looking forward to the next conversation. And all I would like to ask you now is if you like this podcast, please give it a 5-star review and just share it. Share it if you know somebody that could benefit from this. If you know somebody who has cancer or has had cancer, if there's only one person that could benefit from this, wouldn't that be worth it? Subscribe, do whatever you need to do, ask me a question, connect with me on social media. If you have any questions about this, please reach out to me. Or if there's anything else that you would like me to address that you heard in this episode, let me know and we can talk about it again in another episode. Thank you for what you are choosing in the world, and you matter. I love you.